Time to welcome some more new faces as part of the Kevolution who have backed the channel on Patreon. A very, very big thank you to Dan Ripley, Craig Eels, Sahad Balokchu. If I've said that wrong, I apologise. And to Liam Hammond as well. Thank you very much. Your support is massively, massively appreciated. If you too would like to become part of the Kevolution, you can do that by going to patreon.com/Lelujo. But aside from all that, today could be a big, big episode. Potential job change ahoy. Hello and welcome to Season 16, Part 5 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kev, and coming up on today's episode, we're kind of going to have to wait and see. We're definitely going to be playing Sunderland at home. We might still be at Ipswich to play QPR away as well. We might not even do a second game, depending on what happens. Let me tell you a little story. The Chelsea manager was sacked. Chelsea found themselves fifth in the Premier League, which apparently is enough to get you sacked. I was immediately linked with that job in the media as favourite. I got an interview. It went well. My odds shortened after the interview. I was still considered the favourite. The fans were talking in the media about wanting me. And then they appointed Eddie Howe, who has been Stoke manager for the last goodness knows however many years. Let's have a look. How do we have a look to... Would it be in landmarks? It will be in managers. He has been Stoke manager for the last 8 years, during which time he's won the Europa League, he's won the FA Cup, he's won the EFL Cup, he's won the UEFA Europa League again, so he's won that twice. He's won the UEFA Super Cup. He's qualified for the Champions League like 5 years in a row. He has made Stoke a superpower. For some reason, he decided to leave Stoke and go to Chelsea. So I've applied for the Stoke job because it seems too good to turn down. However, Pep Guardiola is favourite for the Stoke job ahead of me because, and I didn't realise this at the time, we got Pep sacked from Manchester City last year. He was sacked just after we knocked him out of the FA Cup. There you go. Look, knocked out of the FA Cup by Ipswich. Yes, they also lost the EFL Cup final. We won't worry about that. Sacked as manager of Man City. So I've got a new nemesis. Forget about Cristiano Ronaldo. He's basically a non-league manager now. Let's just have a little look at Ronaldo to see what he's doing. He's probably unemployed. Cristiano Ronaldo, still manager of Huddersfield. Where at Huddersfield, they are, okay, third in League One. He's having one of his rare good seasons. But he's not even close to being my rival anymore. I think Pep Guardiola is the new man, because we got him sacked and now we're up against him for the Stoke job. The Stoke job would be an incredible opportunity. They're a Champions League club. They're a consistent top four club. They've won European competitions. I don't really know why Eddie Howe left. They're rich. If we have a look at some of the transfer dealings over the last few years, they spent £61 million this summer, £71 million the summer before, £56 million, £98 million, £116 million, £154 million, £80 million. They are a rich club. We could win the league with Stoke. It's the one thing Eddie Howe never did. I really quite want that job, but we'll have to wait and see. I'm not interested in QPR. I'm not interested in any of these lesser jobs. I am keeping my eye on some of the other top European leagues. So if something good comes up in Germany or Italy or Spain, then we'll apply for that. But it needs to be something good, not Levante, for example. So we'll see how things pan out. But ignoring job hunting stuff for a minute, form has been a little bit disastrous again. We've not won a game since we knocked Stevenage out of the FA Cup by the skin of our teeth, and in the league we've not won a game this year. Boxing Day against Spurs was the last time we won a football match. It's now the middle of February. We are struggling a little bit. The league table after 25 games looks like this, so we do have a game in hand on all of the teams around us. We're on 25 points after 25 games, so the Kev ratio is still fine. We're 5 points clear of the relegation zone. That's fine. If we win our game in hand, it's really, really fine, because we'll go up to lower mid-table, which is super fine. But I don't really rate that happening because we don't seem to win football matches anymore. We have experimented a little bit with other tactics. This game against Newcastle is another one where it was a last-minute equaliser by Newcastle. But for once, it wasn't my fault because we used our new counter-attacking tactic, which looks a little bit like that. And we actually dropped it back to contain and dropped the wingers back. for the last 10 minutes as well, and they still equalised. So we almost picked up a win with a new tactic. We're not going to use that new tactic today, though. We're at home against Sunderland. Sunderland and QPR are two of the worst teams in the league. If we win both of these games, we're probably safe. If we lose both of these games, we are well and truly in a relegation battle. If Sunderland beat us today, they're only 2 points behind us, and we don't have a game in hand over them. That's the game in hand. So we really, really need to beat Sunderland today. So we're going back to what we know, and this is the team that we're going to be playing today against Sunderland. No, it's not, because we're going to put Kev in goal. Good, big Kev Thompson's coming back in, who, by the way, despite getting into the England squad last year, it still says he's English on there. Jamaica are now very interested in calling him up, so he might become a Jamaican international in the near future, which, no offence to Jamaica, is slightly less impressive than England. I don't know why a man who's a young up-and-coming goalkeeper in his first season in the Premier League has just made it into the England squad. I don't know why that would be the point he'd decide to go and represent Jamaica. You'd think you'd give it a few more years, but we might be about to lose him as a future England hero. But this is the team for today's game against Sunderland. Absolutely must win. The most must-winningest of must-win games we've had in a long, long time. So we've got Kevin Thompson in goal. A back four of Williams, Powell, Gabrielli and Brassas. Duxbury, Hunt and Anichich in midfield. And then Gilbert in behind Foot and Beale. Jordan Todd has gone off the boil a little bit lately. He's still our top scorer, but not playing as well as he has been, so he drops down to the bench to allow Jack Beale back in, who still hasn't scored this year, I don't think. Not scored since he had that hat-trick against Derby really early on. But yeah, I hope today's the day he decides to come back and be awesome. He's been playing when we play wide, because we have Foot on one side, Beale on the other side, and Jordan Todd in the middle. Sometimes we even play with Gilbert behind them as well, or Gilbert on one of the wings. It's all very splendid, but did I say it was Kevin Thompson's 125th game for us today? That doesn't seem right. Definitely not his 125th game for us, or his 125th game overall. It might be his 125th game for me, but I would imagine more of his 200-odd appearances have been in my teams. I don't know why he's only worth £475,000, actually, when you consider how much the rest of the team are miraculously worth. The likes of Gabrielli and Todd, who you would put as a similar kind of level, they're worth £10 million plus. Kevin Thompson's still only worth $500,000. So perhaps he is rubbish and you lot were right all along. It's a fine line. He could go one of two ways. He could become a superhero who ends up being England number one. He could end up being a championship keeper who plays for Jamaica every now and again. It's a big, big season for Kevin Thompson. And Mark Foot, with 35 seconds on the clock, has only got just his fourth goal of the season. It was a cross from Beale, I think. And I really hope today's the day that we decide to stay in the Premier League for another season, because if we can survive, I'm much less... Oh, it was Gilbert who got out wide rather than Beale. If we can survive, I'm much less interested in job hunting. I was very interested in Chelsea because I was the favourite and I was linked with it in the media before I even applied. And at the time I was thinking, well, we're in freefall, we could get relegated here. I've got the chance to jump ship to Chelsea and potentially go in the Champions League. So I was very interested in that. Stoke is an interesting opportunity, but they're having a bad season. Perhaps the team that Eddie Howe built is slowly disintegrating because he's left for a reason. They've been a solid Champions League team for the last 5 or 6 years. They're only 8th this year and he's decided to jump ship to Chelsea now rather than... I mean, he could have gone to Man City last year when Guardiola left. There's been plenty of opportunities for Eddie Howe to move on, and he hasn't done. He's chosen to leave now. So I have got my question marks about Stoke. So I think if we can win today, which is a big if, because we haven't done it for so long, and then especially if we can beat QPR as well in the next game, I think we're probably safe then, and I'm less interested in jumping ship before the end of the season. I kind of want to move abroad with my next move, but Stoke is a big opportunity if it comes up. Let's stop talking as if we've already survived, though, because we need to win this game today. And Jack Beale is in and makes it 2-0. Only his 5th goal of the season. Apparently, he used to play for Sunderland. It must be one of the teams he had loan spells at when we were down in the Championship. He had 4 or 5 seasons in a row at various Championship teams. scoring an absolute hatful of goals for them before finding his true home at Ipswich. But 2-0 with 22 minutes on the clock, and I'm starting to feel a little bit more positive about the season as a whole. We're up to 13th place if things stay as they are, and we would be 8 points clear of Sunderland, who are the top of the relegation zone team. Beale's in again, it's 3-0. Surely we can't throw this away now. And now we just need to go and beat QPR. A win against QPR would put us on, assuming we win today, let's not get too ahead of ourselves. If we win today and then beat QPR, who are bottom of the league, 10 points behind Sunderland, perhaps not 10, but a long way back, 4 points behind Sunderland. But if we can win both of these games today, that puts us on 31 points after 27 games. We'd only need another two or three wins, 2 wins and a couple of draws, and we would be absolutely safe then. And we'd have 10 or 11 games to do it in. Oh, let's just not throw this away. Whatever we do, don't throw it away. We might switch the counter-attacking tactic for the second half. You might get to see that in action. Although, I am terrified at inviting them to come and attack us. We might give it 10 or 15 minutes at the start of the second half just to see if we can grab a fourth. Because why not? Although if Beale scores here, we're going counter-attacking for the second half. He does. Jack Beale apparently only scores hat-tricks in the Premier League. Because he did it at the start of the season against Derby. He's done it again today against Sunderland. A first half hat-trick. Goodness me, did we need it. And I am starting to wonder whether he should have been sat on the bench for as much of the season as he has been. I know Jordan Todd has impressed, but Beale got 40 goals last year. Would Beale have more than the 11 that Todd has if he'd have played as many games as Todd? Anicic is in there and forces a save out of the Sunderland keeper. But we're 4-0 up at half-time. Surely we just have to sit back and not lose now. So that's exactly what we're going to do. Well, we're going to sit back. Fingers crossed it'll result in us not losing. So we shift everything around like this. We'll put Gilbert out there, foot up front. And we're going to do that. See, we've even got it all trained and ready. So we're on counter-attacking on a 4-3-3. Ian Hunt drops down in front of the back four. And I just hope that we manage to hold on. Beale just sort of runs it out of play. He has been playing well as a winger for us. Perhaps that's given him the confidence to come back into the team and score goals again. Although we've been counter-attacking for 2 minutes when Sunderland get a goal back. If they score again, I have to go back to attacking, surely, because it just shows that this system doesn't work. But everything about this system should work. It should be right. Right, send him off. Let's get Sunderland down to 10 men. Yeah, send him off. Oh, he sent him off. Excellent stuff. Beale's going to take the free kick. Hopefully stick it onto the head of Mark Foot and we'll go 5-1 up. But it is not to be. But surely we can't throw it away from here. We're 4-1 up with half an hour to go. Sunderland are down to 10 men and they're a relegation threatening team. They're supposed to be rubbish. If we manage to throw it away from here, it's the bottle job of all bottle jobs. I'm just sat watching the clock. I'm not even watching the game. I'm just watching that clock tick. And it is ticking so slowly. But Gilbert has a free kick. It's deflected. Gabrielli out wide. Finds Hunt to Duxbury. To Gilbert. Gilbert hits the crossbar post corner bit, I think. Or was it a save? Nobody knows. And we're going to go even more defensive with 20 minutes to go. We're going to drop down to defensive. And we're going to make some changes. Tommy Duxbury is not having the best of games, so Abadi is just a more defensive player to come in there and shore up the midfield a little bit. Kevin Thompson's not having a very good game, but we're not mad enough to take him off. We will, however, bring Tanner on for Williams. Again, a slightly more defensive option. Williams is not having the best of games and is on a yellow card, so it just hopefully makes things a little bit safer at the back. Hunt was really far forward for our defensive midfield player there, but did really well to hold up the play and let everyone else reposition around him. That goal is credited to Ian Hunt because it was a superb a superb piece of holding midfield play. He got the ball in space and just held on to it, let everyone else reposition around him and just started an attack. It was exceptional and it's a good finish from Gilbert. We're 5-1 up now. Kev did tactics today, everybody. If you're watching Stoke, this is what you get. You get 5-1s, you get tactics, you get youngsters doing brilliant things in midfield. And we're just going to make our final substitution. I think we're going to bring on Dennis Kuka for Gabrielli because why on earth not? We're 5-1 up. Let's give Kuka some game time. and give Gilbert 10 minutes with the captain's armband on because he deserves it for that rather excellent finish. Look at the stats of that front three today. Bearing in mind they've played in 3 different formation combination thingies. Jordan Todd must be looking at that and wondering how he gets back into this team, which is a bizarre situation considering how well he's played this year. But that is a really, really, really good result, and hopefully we can now go and do the same thing against QPR, unless we end up at Stoke between then and now. No one really knows. Right, Stoke have offered a job interview. At the moment, Guardiola's surely still favourite. Let's have a look. Guardiola's still favourite. Let's see if that changes after the interview, because the interview we had with Chelsea really pushed us further forward. We still didn't get the job, but they seemed very much... Look at that. Stoke, 4.5-star reputation, worldwide reputation, rich. It's insane. I'm hardly impressed by your apparent taste for relegation. Oh, snarky job interviews. Excellent stuff. We've had difficult jobs at clubs who weren't very good. Something taking a risk? No, it's not a risk at all. I've managed clubs. I haven't managed clubs this size. I'm keen to make my way. Yeah, it is a fantastic opportunity. We'll do that. It's a fantastic opportunity. I've been in management a long time. Ergo, acceptable. When you intend to establish as... Well, I'll do it straight away. No, I'll do it straight away. It's fine. That was weird. I've not been asked that before, I don't think. Yes, I'm happy to work with the director of football. I always appoint one anyway. As part of the recruitment process, no, we don't need to change backroom staff. Mr. Snake in the Grass will probably come over, but other than that, we'll be fine. Would you be... Yes, we'll develop youth players. That's fine. What else do they like? Yeah, we'll sign some high-profile players. We're not going to play defensive or possession football, though, and we don't need to worry about any of that stuff. So we'll just say those two. Whoa, Champions League qualification is a bit of a tall order. Because, I suppose they're only 4 points away. Leicester are all the way up there. I guess it's doable. Don't sack me if we don't get it. Yeah, we'll try. I mean, the wage budget's irrelevant because I can't spend any money. Same with wage budget, so we'll just say that's fine. And I have no further requests. Hopefully, even if we get the job and don't end up in the Champions League, they won't just sack me for it, because that would be sad after how well we've done at Ipswich. But I guess now we wait and see what happens. If we have a look at the job centre again, Guardiola's still favourite. Any mention of it in the media? No. I guess we're about to play QPR then. Ooh, they didn't do this. They did not do this with Chelsea. They probably never thought I was realistically an option for Chelsea. The fact that they've done this, does that mean it's quite likely that Stoke are interested? I think I'm just going to decline the meeting. How long is my contract with... In fact, people want to see the profile. There you go. There's the profile. People have been asking for that for ages. I'm 49 now. Wow. And I rarely communicate directly with my players. That sounds about right. So my contract at the moment runs until the end of next season. I'm not on very much money at all. I was on double that at Tor, I think. So unless they're offering me one heck of a pay rise. No, you know what? I asked for when we started the season really well and we were up in the Champions League spots after a couple of games, I asked for a new contract at that point and they just said no. So I'll now decline the meeting now and hope that doesn't get me fired. Have we been fired? Not been fired. Well, fingers crossed. That means Stoke are going to offer me a contract, and then we perhaps pit the two of them against each other and just go to whoever offers me the most money. That's the current plan. Right, away against QPR then. We've made it through to the game. I'm not making any changes at all. Yes, we're away from home, but we're away from home against a managerless team who are in terrible form. So I think we're safe doing the same attacking formation that was so effective in that first half against Sunderland. If it all goes wrong, then we change things up if we need to. It's certainly not something we're going to make a habit of doing in away games against bigger and better teams, but as in the same way as the last game was a must-win game, this one not so much. We can probably still be safe if we lose it, but if we win, then I think we probably are safe at that point. So it's not a must-win, but it would be blooming handy if we do win it. So let's go and attack and do what we do best. Do what's got us our back-to-back promotions. Ian Hunt is slowly developing into a very good defensive midfield player as this season goes on. We're missing Aaron O'Brien less and less because Hunt is developing into a proper midfield player, as he showed just there. And we're 1-0 down after 20 minutes. It's not a disaster. We just talked about this. We're still 8 points clear of relegation if we lose. It is by no means a disaster. I hope Stoke are not watching today. I hope they just are watching the Sunderland game on a loop to get an example of how awesome I am. But this is fine. We're okay at the moment. We can get back into this game. We've gone 1-0 down hundreds of times over the years on this save. We know what to do. We'll just go and score more goals than they do. We'll do it the Kev way. Although if they come in and score here, it becomes more challenging. Thompson with a decent first-time save, but doesn't push it anywhere near far enough away. Really just palms it into the path of the on-rushing QPR player. And, I mean, that's poor goalkeeping. That's really poor goalkeeping from Kevin Thompson. And again, he had the opportunity to just put his boot through it the second time as well. That all has to go down to Kevin Thompson, and now Duxbury's picked up a knock. Duxbury's signed a new contract, by the way. We did when we got to the halfway point of the season, it asked us to do our season expectations. We moved it up to avoid relegation rather than attempt to avoid relegation. That gave us the money to renew his contract. So that's sorted. Today's game is a disaster though. Duxbury, what's wrong with him? He's got a potential thigh injury. We're just going to take him straight off. We'll bring on Ed Quine. It's just a straight swap into that position. And we've had a really poor start to this game. A disastrous first half. Perhaps we need to use the counter-attacking system in every away game because we are terrible away from home this season. I hoped that against the bottom of the table team we might get away with it, but I guess it's been a gamble that hasn't paid off. And they're in again and they're going to score again. Oh, Thompson actually makes a save this time. That's a novelty. And we're not... I think... If you'd have offered me 3 points at the start of the episode, I probably would have said yes, please, based on the fact we hadn't won yet this year. But after playing so well against Sunderland, it is still disappointing. Let's bring Jordan Todd on for Beale, who has not turned up today after being so good against Sunderland. Perhaps he's only going to do well against teams he used to play for. Todd's now got 20 minutes to show me why he needs to start the next game. But he doesn't seem that interested in doing that. We'll bring Garcia on as well for Foot and give him 10 minutes to show me why he should still be at the club. We didn't manage to sell him in January. We did try. Well, didn't actually offer him to anyone because I didn't want to make him sad. So I didn't try at all. But if we'd have had an offer, I'd have sold him. But we didn't have offers for any of our players during the January transfer window, probably because we just kept losing games, so it makes them look a lot less attractive. Garcia was in there, but the full-time whistle has gone. That's a disappointing result, and we'll see what happens. I imagine there's every chance our next episode could be quite soon, depending on what happens with Stoke. I mean, look, we could play them there. We could play us there as them. Let me know in the comments what you think we should do. If Stoke come in and offer the job, would you take it? There's today's question of the day. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you pop a like on there for me. Subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more. And thank you very much for watching.